Hello, I'm Chuck Phillip with South Alabama Home Inspections, and welcome to another edition of Southern Home Talk. And I'm about to have my septic tank pump, and I would say a large number of people who live in older homes in some neighborhoods have these, and also know as well that you can live in a neighborhood that has city sewer service and still be on a septic tank. So just know that if you're out looking for a home, be sure you verify what kind of service is connected to it. Now, I personally would rather be on a septic tank than city sewer, and I'm not going to get into all the reasons why that is. Generally, if you maintain these systems, they should perform really well for many decades. You probably should have these pumped about every 3 to 5 years, and it's been about 5 since I've had this one pumped. And about I think it was the same year, 2017, I put all this gravel down here to stop erosion, and I kind of wished I'd used a smaller size, but I went with number 4. And so it was a little bit challenging getting that off, and I put it in these big tubs because I want to be able to put this back over it after the dirt's removed. And in fact, that dirt's going to be placed on top of that sheet right there. And also too, I marked this as well the last time it was pumped. And I'm also going to put a date there too this time, so I will know on site, and anyone else will know when the last time this was pumped. Now, a lot of people don't know where their septic tank is, and I'm going to give you a little tip about how to find it. Usually you'll have a clean out pipe that sticks up back there in the back, and it'll have a threaded cap on it. And usually it's going to be anywhere from 10 to 20 feet past that. Now it can be further, so that's just a general rule. But you probably are going to need a probe, which I made myself. This is, I think, a 1/4-inch stainless rod. And so what you do is you can actually hear it. And I can find see, there's the end of the lid there. So I've got good margins around this, so they can come in and pretty much just do a little bit of light digging to get to the lid. Now, I do recommend that if you hire a septic tank company to come pump your tank, that you be there with them when they do this. And I know, I don't want to be around a gross smell. Well, the thing of it is, I do know of some cases where people's hired companies come out and pump their tank, and they just not even pump it at all and charge you. And so that's why I recommend that you at least stick around a little bit to make sure that they're doing their job. And so the cost of doing this varies widely, from probably $300 to $400, and I guess a lot of that will depend on how difficult it is for them to come in there to service it. But also you want to keep in mind too is you want to keep access to your backyard, because it does have to be pumped. And so if you put up a building on the side of your house, they're not going to be able to get to your tank to pump it. And also that holds true with your backyard as well, because a good portion of your backyard has field lines, and so you don't want to cover that up with a building or something like that. I'm going to give you a little bit of an example of what older field lines look like. These here are really kind of newer, but I would say 80s, 90s. This is what was used. It was corrugated pipe, and it's called sock pipe. It actually had a sock over it like you would wear on your foot. And the majority of the time, that's what the field lines were. Now, back in the 60s, this was what the field lines used to be. I actually saved a little bit of it. It was this terracotta pipe. And so that's what used to be here. But I did have my my field lines replaced, and I replaced it with the Infiltrator system, which is a very good system. I'm kind of sort of glad I waited to do that because that system was available at the time I had it installed. And it does cover a large portion of my backyard, even goes behind the shed back there. But also know I was here when they installed that as well and took photographs, so I kind of sort of know where they are located in the backyard. So that's the thing, you have to think ahead of time for anything that you do as far as projects in your backyard, that you don't want to obstruct the servicing of your septic tank and possible field lines. Well, anyway, there'll be a second part to this. I'll attach to this. The company's supposed to be on the way here to get this pumped. I'm a little bit out of breath from doing this digging. I'm really too old to be doing this, to be honest with you, but I didn't want them to scatter my rocks everywhere, and that's why I got them in these totes, and hopefully this will go pretty smoothly from here on out. So just stay tuned to the second part of this. What the hell them damn mosquitoes got in there? Who's ever thought the septic tank would breed mosquitoes? Learn something new.
See all kind of bugs, frogs. I don't see how they live in here, but they're definitely amazing.
I'm gonna put some Mosquito Dunks in there occasionally. Who would have thought that your septic tank could spawn mosquitoes? I mean, I was just floored when they pulled the lid on that tank and hundreds of mosquitoes came out of it. I mean, apparently mosquitoes can take a hell of a lot of crap. Well, anyway, now that I know that that's where they're primarily growing is in my own septic tank, I figured what I would do is try to mitigate that by putting screens on my fence where I'm pretty sure they're coming through. And I'm also going to flush dunks down the toilet about once a month or so to kill any larvae that might be inside the tank. So hopefully the combination between this and that will reduce the mosquito population around my home. And so basically what I did is use scrap screen, fiberglass screen, and just post rubber bands, and they'll probably rot off in about a year, which is perfect because these need to be changed out about that length of time anyway. So keep watching, guys. All right, guys, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just end it up with a little follow-up to the tail end of this. This went relatively easy, and he did a good job. He did what he said he would do. He came out. He was a little late this morning, but he did call and tell me he was going to be late, which is something you don't get too often with many of these service providers. And so I do want to thank him for being professional and let me know he was going to be a little bit late. And sure enough, he was just a little late. He wasn't that late. And so anyway, I based on his performance here today, you know, I think I would absolutely use him again. And basically all I have left to do is just to put this gravel back over the tank, because like you saw earlier, I separated the dirt from the gravel. Now, one thing that I didn't realize, and this is kind of why I'm glad I had this pumped, it really could have gone longer without having to be pumped, but the only way you're ever going to know is to have the tank lid pulled to see what's going on. And so I know that some inspectors offer these septic tank inspections, and I'm really skeptical of that. I don't see how you can scope this and really determine if it needs pumped or not. And so I think the only way to really do that is to actually have the lid pulled and have it pumped while you're doing it. And so if you're going to pay for a septic tank inspection, I think it's just as cheap just to have it pumped. And at least you'll know, where you stand as far as the, how much it's being filled up with waste products or whatever. Now, just like with grinder pump systems, you're kind of sort of limited to what you should put in your septic tank system. Really you should only use toilet paper, but they do make wipes that are rated for septic tank systems. And I never realized that my septic tank system was breeding mosquitoes. And I was just floored by the amount of them that came out of there. And so what I did is I went ahead, before they put the lid back on, is I put these Mosquito Dunks in there to stop that process. And so a lot of people say, well, how are you going to get it? You're going to pull the lid off every month to put them in? No, I'm not. But what I am going to do is flush one of these down the toilet once a month. And I may even go up on top of the roof and put screens over the top of the vents, because I'm pretty sure that's how they're getting into the system. They're flying down through the plumbing vents, nesting and hatching inside the septic tank, and then making their way back out through the vent. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So anyway, I hope this has been somewhat informative. Also go to the Facebook page, because I'm going to have some photographs there that's going to be really informative on the field lines that I use, and some other information as well, because I just can't think of everything when I do these. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, guys, and take care.